well, hey, it's been a few minutes. Nobody's been killed.
So let's kill this guy.
So let's kill Mr. Principal Man.
Yes.
So the Fonz is one of those, like, he's looking and he's got the mask on too. So he's like, ooh,
he scares himself.
That's stupid.
And then he hears a noise, and he looks out the door. He goes, "You little shit!" And then a dude looks up and says, "What'd you call me?" And the guy's wearing a fedora. He's mopping. He's wearing a fedora and a red and green striped sweater. And the Fonz says, "Sorry, Fred." The funny thing about that, do you know who that guy was? That was Wes Craven himself, the man himself playing Freddy Krueger, essentially. I like to think this is a prequel to A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is the living Freddy Krueger.
And then the whole, like, oh, where's the killer? Oh, he's behind the door, and super stab.
Yep.
And stab.
And stab again.
And stabbed again, and the Fonz is dead.
Well, this was a moment, like, they talk about, Stu, and right before this happens, Stu talks to, setting up the party, finally.
Yeah.
And Stu's talking to them and whatever, and being like, hey, you know, we're gonna fucking have this party and all this shit. And then they're just like, he's like, all right, bring food and everything like that. And then he does this motion that literally looks like he's stabbing somebody. He just goes, yeah, and fucking, like, pumps his arm and it looks like he's stabbing somebody. And then we cut to the scene where Himbry gets killed. I don't need Buddy's notes to assume that was Stu.
So Sid and Tatum, or Tatum's basically like, maybe Cotton didn't kill your mom.
And she
maybe your mom's a bit of a whore?
Yeah. I mean, and she does use that, the thing that was really only big in the 90s, because we all thought it and believed it. The whole Richard Gere gerbil story, which, guess it turns, I mean, we're in 2019. I guess it wasn't true.
Yeah, but it's just like...
But we believed it. I ain't gonna fucking lie. You can only hear
something so long before you believe it.
Yeah, because trust me, we all believed it.
And here's this thing. She references somebody by the name of Wes Carpenter now.
That was Wes's insistence.
Okay, because I'm just like, in this world, is Wes Carpenter a person?
No.
Okay.
What the original script said in the script, no word of a lie, in the original script, it said something out of a Wes Craven movie. And Wes immediately said, can you please take that out?
Because I'm not a pompous asshole.
No, I just don't want to be referenced in the movie that I'm making. So,
but
instead of... And they were originally...
in the movie he's making?
Well, yeah, but he's not referenced. Okay. And by the way...
Well, Freddy Krueger...
Who knew that fucking Wes was in that outfit? Fair enough. So... What he insisted, he was like, can we change it? And they were going to change it to John Carpenter, but then I think it might have actually been, what's her name? Tatum, whatever the actress name.
Rose McGowan.
There we go. Rose McGowan might have actually done that on purpose.
Okay. Fair enough. Oh, because it makes her sound like a ditz.
A moron, yeah, that's the idea.
We cut to the video store where we get Randy, Stu, and later Billy.
And this is where Randy's basically like, you know, isn't this messed up? He's in the horror section, and like, if you know... Basically
calling him the killer.
Yeah.
While he's there, like, to his face, basically.
Well, he doesn't say it to his face, but he doesn't say it quietly.
Yeah. And Stu, who's Billy's lapdog, just like, fuck you, what are you...
I'm now reminded what pissed Tatum off to smack Stu in the head with the lollipop. He basically, she mentioned to Stu, Sydney mentioned to Stu, like, oh, is he pissed? He goes, what, since you branded him the Candy Man? No, he's heartbroken. Oh, yeah. Which is a line I wanted to get in there because I love that. That's hilarious. So, this is pretty much foreshadowing of that, or more of that.
And we get the whole Randy of, like, there's a formula to all of this, a very simple formula.
He's yelling this at the top of his lungs. Everybody's looking around. I do love the fact that there's one extra behind him that, while he's screaming, is looking at him, and then just shakes her head like she's bored and walks away.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, he's
the
weirdo.
Fuck are you talking about? If a dude working here starts yelling, I'm going to pay attention. So, but then Billy creepily shows up and just like, oh, what if you're the killer and blah, blah, blah. And at first he's scared and being like, yeah, you're absolutely right. But then it literally, at one point, he's just like, so what would be your motive? And he literally stops being scared and literally just like, I guess to show the audience he could be the killer of, like, you know, it's the new millennium. Motives are irrelevant. Like, he literally goes off in his own tangent, and then Billy scares him again, and he walks away. We're done.
Again, the whole meta-ness of it all, just like it's a millennia, so anyone could be the killer because there might not even be a motive in this movie.
Yeah,
could just be somebody random.
And then
We get the whole, well, maybe Dad's the killer.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't
They
been
can't
seen,
find
they
him.
can't find him,
And then
he's not, he didn't register in the hotel that he said he was staying at.
But to keep us guessing, like, Dewey brings up the only smart point of, like, well, can't the cell phone be cloned? Because they find out that all those calls were made from Sydney's dad.
Yeah.
So, can't a cell phone be cloned? Well, of course it can. But we won't know for X amount of time.
And then we get to that scene.
Yep.
Where it's party time for the rest of the film.
Although before that, there's a scene where, Tatum and Sydney are in the grocery store, and for no reason whatsoever, Ghostface pops up in a reflection in the freezer case, and it doesn't lead to anything. So there was no reason for that.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes, like, even where they're going into the house, you can kind of see, like, Ghostface in the woods, like, kind of like the Bigfoot with the walk. He's just like, huh? And then run back into the fucking...
Which I think they used a lot in Scary Movie. They ended up using that kind of thing where he's just dumb and fucking hides all the time.
So we get party time.
People drinking. Everyone's having a grand old time.
They talk about horror movies. And
Randy just waxes philosophical about horror movies, and they talk about Halloween a lot.
And Jamie Lee Curtis is brought up a lot in this scene. And
because we got the final girl, and the final girl's in the scene, which is kind of hilarious, and... all of that nonsense, and then they're having the whole discussion and whatever, and then Stu asks Tatum to get him a beer.
What am I, the beer wench? And then she is, because she goes.
Because then she goes and gets a bunch of them, so I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, she goes for a bunch of beers.
Yeah, she takes a handful of beers. Like, she grabs an armful of beers.
A bundle.
I mean, why they're in the garage and not in the kitchen, I don't know. But these kids, again, youth is wasted on the young. They're just... you don't know how to party.
So, the door's locked, and like, ha ha ha, very funny idiots.
And this is where we get the line from the thing of like, oh, I'm the helpless girl, and...
well, she goes to press the garage door,
yeah.
And then it starts to close. She turns around, and Ghostface is standing there, and then that's when she wants to play along, like she thinks it's somebody from the party playing a prank. Can I be the helpless victim? And
he's
like,
nodding like, yes, you can.
And then he brandishes a knife, and she's like, whoa,
hey, we're all having fun here. But, because she does at one point say, hey, Randy, you better put that away. It's always fucking Randy. You better put that away or before Sydney sees it or she's going to kill you. And then he tries to kill her.
Yeah, he takes a swipe, drops the beers.
Yeah.
And then she starts woofing these beers at this guy. And
that's the thing. She's going, and he's taking him down, and I'm like... there's so many other things you could do right now.
She's throwing heat, like fucking Nolan Ryan in his prime,
exactly,
right down Main Street.
And my thought is, aren't there other things to throw than beer bottles? Because that's clearly not getting the job done. But you gotta have other. It's a fucking garage. You gotta have other stuff there.
Break a beer bottle off, and you have a weapon.
Yeah, now you're on even playing field, lady.
Now you both have a knife.
Yeah. I mean, what she attempts to do is, I guess, smart, kind of. I mean, if the actress did this, it would work. But not so much the character, because she attempts to fit through a dog door.
Well, again, press start. It goes up only a little bit, and then it doesn't work. So she goes, okay, doggy door it is.
Yeah. So she runs to the doggy door, and then we're like, well, she can get through. Technically, yes, the actress can fit through, because when they were doing this scene, she kept falling out.
Yeah, because
she
like Rose McGowan's an itty-bitty thing.
Yeah.
So.
The way that they had to do it, they literally had to nail the shirt to the door. That was the only way she would stay in. And she had to hold on for dear life as it was rising.
And then he presses it, it goes all the way up, and then just fucking...
strongest fucking door in the history of garage doors. Because
just snaps her neck.
Yeah, because trust me, no.
Boom, and she's dead for the rest. And for the rest of the film, she's just hanging there. Hanging around.
What's up?
And nobody sees this?
Well, nobody goes into the garage. Which I'm like, doesn't anyone want a beer yet?
Yeah, so no one else is going for a beer? If this is where the beer is...
somebody went out. I'm just saying. Although this is Stu's house, so maybe he's getting the beers because he clearly knows what's going on.
This is the whole rules scene where Randy gets up and explains, nobody knows rules? Oh, Jesus Christ. Nobody knows the rules. All right. Explains the rules of
which we heard at the beginning.
And alcohol and the whole thing.
And this is, again, where Stu goes, I'm going to go get a beer. I'll be right back. So he probably went and got a shit ton of beers because he knew what was up.
Yeah, it's just like, you never say, I'll be right back. I'm going to get a beer. You want one? Sure.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife.
Yeah, and then they also do...
ironically, he will.
Well, they also talk about the whole virgin thing whilst intercut with scenes because Billy shows up and he talks Sydney into doing it.
Yeah, so the final girl breaks the rule.
Yep, has sex.
Yeah, that's not cool. You fucked a crazy person.
Yep. She gave it up.
She did.
And this was the first time, right? Like she's
Oh
not
yeah,
a virgin.
no, she was straight up a virgin. Now
Yeah.
she ain't.
Dewey and Gale find Sid's dad's car while they're like going out
Well,
for a stroll.
what happened is
because he's there because he's
some
like
of the people split from the party already, and then the rest of the people are leaving because Randy gets the call that the principal's dead. Who called? I don't know, but he called, and then that's when everybody decides to leave. So they all get in their cars and drive whilst drinking.
In 1996, what 18-year-old, 19-year-old teenagers are going to say things like "to arms, as they're leaving, and then reference the Lone Ranger when they go "Hi-ho, Silver, away"?
I mean, we would have said "Hi-ho, Silver." I can guarantee you that. To arms? No.
To arms!
Unless they were reading it in English class, which I don't think they were.
Either way, they almost run over fucking Dewey and Gale, and that's when they fall on top of each other, they kiss, and that's where David Arquette and Courtney Cox actually fell in love. So
yes, so
it was probably during scenes like that.
Oh, probably. And then they see the car, and then they're like, "Oh shit, look at that car! Hey, it's Buddy's car."
And this is after she was inside and she snuck a camera in, which is on a delay, which does.
There's a whole point, that there's a delay and blah 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 and all that shit. Yeah.
Billy gets attacked after they have sex, and she's like, "You still think I'm the killer after all of this?
Yeah,
I can't believe you."
Which I'm like, yeah, how could you? You fucked him.
Yeah.
Like, were you just trying to knock it out? Like,
and then Ghostface shows up and fucking stabs him, and he's like, "Sit." And then this you should know it's fake. Like this is like Shakespearean levels of like, and then he collapses on the bed.
Poor York.
So it's just like, and then she's like, "No, Billy," and then she fucking hoofs it out of there.
She splits, and like Stu's chasing her because don't need Buddy's notes for this one.
Nope.
And then this is one of the best parts because now they start using, and this is genius. They start using the Halloween soundtrack, which is playing in the video that Randy's watching, and they're using the soundtrack from Halloween. I absolutely love this. This is like the best kind of thing this movie ever did. Was this
because we get the killer walking over, and he's about to stab Randy while he was drunk on the couch watching Halloween.
Yeah, and he's literally, ironically, Jamie Kennedy is saying, "Jamie, behind you, Jamie, behind you." I'm like, all right, that worked on two levels unintentionally.
Well done, everyone involved.
Yes.
But he gets distracted, he runs out, but because of the delay, because
they were watching this,
Sydney's banging on the news van like, "Hey, let me in," and then they watch the camera, and he's like, "Goddamn delay!"
And I don't understand because they're watching it, and they're just like, "Oh my god!" Like, fucking, there's a delay. Holy shit! And then he jumps out of the fucking van. What was he gonna do?
But even in the delay, you could see Ghostface leaving.
Well, he didn't see it because he jumped out before because he was going to go help the kid, and then he went delay. And my thought is, okay, so delay. Get the fuck back in the van. He doesn't even bother.
Van door opens. His neck gets slit. He's super dead.
Yep.
Like, this is where just bodies are starting to get piled up
now let the bodies hit the floor.
So Kenny's dead. Fucking Gale gets in the van. Starts driving. She sees the windows dirty. She starts wiping it off from the inside, and I'm like, what?
Lady?
I get it. You know what? I get it. You're panicked.
How strong are Billy and Stu that they put the heavy dude on the roof of the car?
Yeah, because she's like, "Oh God, I can't." Okay, windshield, and then she realizes it's blood, and she's freaking out. And then she goes to drive, and then Kenny like shows up. I do like it's like, "Kenny, I'm so sorry, but get the fuck off the windshield."
Yeah. I'm like, first of all, you're not sorry. You called him a fat tub of lard a minute ago.
And then she like swerves, gets him off the, and then he goes flying off the van. Well, I'm like, I get it, he's dead, but still.
He goes flying and rather heavily hits the ground. And then Sydney, in her infinite wisdom, jumps out in front of the car like that's gonna not kill her.
And then that's when she swerves and she crashes, and it's implied that she's killed.
Yeah, like that basically killed her, and Sydney doesn't have time to give a shit, so she starts running.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh well, she can't help me. Okay,
fucking hell, I need to get back in the house."
How about you, Dewey? Because Dewey comes out of the house, he's like, "Sit."
No, fucking.
And they do something that they do, I think, in almost every Scream film.
I wouldn't remember
where Dewey's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they do this at least in, I think, Scream 1 and 2, and I think they do in 3, where it's just like, oh yeah, he's super dead.
Well, I mean,
And I think in this one he was supposed to be dead.
He was, but they liked him so much that they brought him back.
Like, that was supposed to be an actual death scene. Like, he was supposed to go Sydney, and then
and he was supposed to be done, because he does not come back.
Like,
And, well, he does in the sequel, but he doesn't come back in this movie.
Just being loaded